Okay, welcome to this first installment of World of One-on-One D&D things. We don't have a title yet because it's session 0. This is my lovely girlfriend,
Hi.
Maria, also has a channel on YouTube. Can you tell me a
Yes.
little bit about your D&D experiences and maybe your channel as well, so I can link it below?
Okay. First D&D experience. My first D&D experience was actually my first day with this guy right here. So that was fun.
I converted her.
Yeah. But it's more or less what we're going to do here is what we did for that session. So it was like a session 0 of sorts, and then we went into creating characters and everything. And after that, we have converted most of, if not all, of my friend group. Uh, which I think is a great feat. It's one step towards creating a cult.
Uh,
So
Basically, yeah, it happened in like 3 sessions. First 2 of which I
yeah,
was not prepared for. So um, there's that. So you've played about 7 to 8 sessions so far ish, right? 3 of
yeah.
which were live. Well, 4 of which were live. 3 with a friend group, which was very chaotic, very fun. We will talk about that in a different kind of situation. And the rest of which is in an actual campaign with 2 other players that I
Yes.
run called
Oh,
Cloud
but
Bar.
my YouTube channel. Yeah, I have a
Yes,
travel YouTube channel.
yes,
It's in Spanish, but if you want to practice Spanish,
which I
you
do.
can
So I've
always
been watching.
you can always follow me, and I'll be sure to add subtitles at some point, so
Yes,
we can put it here in post production,
yes,
so
it
that
will
you can
be
follow me.
down in the description box below. For
Okay.
sure. Because I'm not sure how much editing I will do anyway. I'm a kind of a lazy YouTuber at the moment. But what kind of story do you want to tell with this one-on-one campaign in particular? Is there any topic
Mm,
that you want to touch on?
I'm thinking maybe make a character that is not entirely morally correct like the rest of my characters have been.
Okay, so kind of like a bounty hunter situation or a
Yeah, sort of
assassin for hire, possibly.
yeah, sort of I do this for myself and that's it.
Okay,
Like survival of the fittest.
I think that's a great concept. What would drive your character in that scenario?
I think it's mainly survival.
Is it
I mean, maybe they had a rough time growing up and they know that they have to do anything they can to survive and to
mhm.
thrive and
Is it
that kind
then
of thing.
related to like a search of power as well? Like a social
Yeah.
power or like a physical power or like a magical power?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, that's good. That gives us something to work towards. Um,
Yay.
and it's not a definitive end goal either, so we can see
Mhm.
where the morality takes you within the game itself, which is nice.
Yeah, it depends if, it's like a character that has magic, that has powers,
Hmm.
also depending on the background.
Speaking of which, do you want to have a world that is kind of like morally gray in itself, or do you want to have like a clear divide between good and bad that you play around with as your character in the gray area?
I was thinking sort of like you've probably seen this and there are people watching this video that might have seen Arcane, and it's sort of that world in which you have like the powerful and the rich and the people that govern everything, and then you have a very defined lower class that does what they have to do in order to survive. It doesn't make people in power the good people, like not all of them,
Hmm.
but there's a very clear line between who has power and who doesn't.
Okay, yeah, as my camera regains my focus.
You need to
So
get cross-eyed.
yeah, I know it's focused right now, but the next time I will go cross-eyed, and that works usually. That's an inside joke because usually when I go cross-eyed, it focuses immediately for some reason. Um, So you like a clear wealth divide or class system within the game, correct?
Hmm.
That you can play
Yep.
around with. Where would your character sit around there?
Oh, the low,
The
low,
low.
low.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would your character then associate stability with wealth and power?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, okay. That is interesting. Um so I'm just going to pull up a character sheet. Well, the character creation menu within D&D. I have a video on it that will come out either soon or has come out last week or weeks before, which goes over this. But we'll go over this in this video as well. If you don't want to see this, there will probably be a stamp. There will probably be a timestamp somewhere here that you can skip to continue into the session, or it might be next video.
Somewhere around here.
Editing will let me know how far we get here. Probably
You
next
you can
video.
you can you can do that on YouTube itself.
Yeah, probably.
Mhm.
We got this. All of this will
Yay!
be in the video, probably. But anyway, let me switch over to the new scene. Um, you're right now above me in the scene.
Oh,
And if you look at the Google Meets that we are running, you can see the character screen as well. We will have to pick a name at some point during the creation session. We don't have to do that right now. Meanwhile, I will adjust some
just know
settings.
that random name generators exist, and those are
It's
great.
built in. So we can just click this a few times and be like, it's now this name. Hopefully I can find this after. I'm just
Yeah,
going to
because I
click a
don't want
few
that to be my name.
settings. If you don't mind telling me what topics should I avoid completely within the session.
Mm, topics to avoid completely. Hmm. Yeah, I think it was the same in like the first session, that it was like
Mhm.
anything too gory, like too descriptive, violent thing.
Okay.
Yeah, probably go in
We
that direction.
ignore coin weight for this time. Okay. So anything too gory or yeah,
Extremely violent, basically.
yeah, don't go to the extreme of dark, basically.
Yeah.
Cool.
Or YouTube will demonetize you.
Most likely, yeah. If I describe it too well, then I'm screwed anyway. What kind of race piques your interest? What do you think would fit the scenario?
Mm,
Because there is so many options. I'm just going to click on the newest book, Mordenkainen Monsters of the Universe, for the races. Because it has most races, but they've changed it to the new version of the races as well.
ooh. What is a Shadar
Sadakai.
Kai?
Sadakai are fake, yeah, fake. They're
Fake.
not real. They exist between life and death. So they have Shadowfell energy within them, infused kind of thing.
No.
Um,
So this means that they died at some point, or that's just where they were born, like between life and death.
I'm not sure exactly. We can make that up as we go, as well. There is
Mhm.
also a race that is the Dampier, or there's one that is you have died but you're not exactly dead kind of race.
Mhm.
Those are also here. I think this is more a Feywild to the Shadowfell situation, where you're not exactly faded, or you have some dark energy within you from the Shadowfell. I think that's kind of where they're leaning towards here.
Mhm.
But yeah, ghostly, translucent, yep, as well. There's
That's
some
scary.
overlap towards. Yeah, it's definitely a more grimy kind of feel. I feel like, yeah.
Uh-huh. I'm thinking maybe. a changeling could help in the situation?
A changeling could be very interesting for sure because you can change your size, your weight, your gender, and your race visually, which
Hmm.
will give you a lot of escape and intrigue possibilities
Yep,
for sure.
that's what I was thinking.
You want to go with that?
Yes.
Okay, you are Fae for purposes of spells
Faye.
mostly. Size is either medium or small. You can change that with your changeling abilities. Your speed is 30 feet. You have proficiency in 2 of these skills: deception, insight, intimidation, performance, or persuasion. Basically, the social skills.
Mm.
You can change your shape. I will say that you have to have seen your target for longer than a glance. So, like a minute, you maybe start a conversation with them to hear their voice so you can replicate what you have seen and heard.
Mhm.
If you spend in proximity with them while they talk to other people, that's also fine. But you have to have a good look at them at least. You can basically adjust your height, you adjust your size between medium and small. You can change. You can make yourself
Oh
appear as a
no, I
member of
cannot
another
be tall
race.
even in the game.
Hmm?
I cannot even be tall here.
Medium goes to like 8 feet.
Oh, okay, so it's tall.
So you can be pretty tall. Like
Okay,
three,
good.
your height range is between 3 and like 8 feet,
Wow. Okay.
roughly. Apparently, there's no limitation to this, as far as they tell me. Your clothing and equipment won't change by this trait, unless they're magical items, because that always changes to the shape.
Okay.
So you have to keep that in mind. If you change gender, it might not fit as well. So you might have to have multiple outfits. What size do you want to start out as? Medium or small?
Um, I mean, I. Mm,
It doesn't really matter much because you can change it as freely as you want to.
uh, so if I go, I guess it would be small considering medium is like 8 feet.
That's the high end of medium. Small ends at like 4 feet, I believe. I think dwarves are small.
Okay,
Are
so it would be
medium and start at
medium. It would
4-ish.
be a starter medium.
Okay, sure. And what two skills you want from this small list right there?
Uh, persuasion and intimidation.
Persuasion and intimidation. Awesome. You can't see that the menu shrinks when I pick options, but it does. So for those viewing from home,
Yeah.
the menu gives you options, and when you pick an option, the menu shrinks for the next option that you need to pick. What kind of class are you feeling like playing? Do you want to use magic, or do you not really feel like using much magic? Would want the option later on, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, there's still a phase, so like the magic aspect is cool,
I
but I
mean, the
think there would
magical aspect is
also
more
be,
you changing shape.
yeah, I think there would probably be more of a roguish type of situation.
And with roguish type of situation, do you mean stealthy,
Mm-hmm.
or do you mean using weapons to dispatch of enemies in particular? Because
Yeah, I
you can
think
be stealthy with most of these classes.
um well, what's the sorcerer one?
The sorcerer is when you get magic from your bloodline. So somewhere in your bloodline there has been either a pact made with an entity, or um, somehow the blood got mixed into it,
Mm.
and that's where you get your source of magic from. So it's like an inner ability of magic.
And what is a blood hunter?
A blunt hunter is a kind of like a monster hunter.
No.
It's leaning between like a fighter and a warlock, I feel like. Don't tie me down on that one. I have not much experience with this class. It does seem to be a more complicated class to play.
Yeah.
Since
That's
there
what I
are
can
some
see.
abilities that damage you, and then you can deal more damage. So it's definitely a tougher class, especially in like this solo situation.
I think I'll probably go for the sorcerer one because I do want some magic
Okay,
involved.
warlock is also an option to add in some magic as well, and in which you make a deal with an external entity to get a certain amount of power in trade for maybe a favor or a action later on for the entity.
No, that makes sense. That could
So
also
that
work.
would fit your character or description so far as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that one fits better.
Okay, and it also gives us a great opportunity to add extra roleplay between you and I because I can play the entity that you have a pact with. Do you want all 4 levels to be Warlock? Because I'm going to start you out at a level 4 character, which is a high level for in general, but with everything, we just have to pick a little more options.
I think maybe we can add some rogue into it, like the
Okay.
weapon thing. Yeah.
Do you want to then do like 2 levels of Warlock, 2 levels Rogue, 3 levels Warlock, 1 level Rogue?
I think, like, yeah, she might have started rogue and then gone for the warlock thing.
Okay. In that case, we will switch it around because you
Yeah,
get different
start with
stuff
rogue.
as Rogue. Do you want 1 level Rogue, 3 levels Warlock?
Yeah, that
Okay.
works.
And another class. We are going to do a Warlock. And then add 3 levels of that. Granting you manage HP. I'm just going to do max HP because you're doing a solo campaign. And this is one of the ways I can control that. So 4 times 8 is 32. Apply. Okay, class features for the rogue. You have a couple of options for skills, which are listed here.
Okay. I already have.
You have performance,
Intimidation.
persuasion. You have and intimidation. You
Intimidation.
have
Deception.
yes. Deception check.
Stealth.
100% makes sense. Yep. Sleight of hand would also make sense, depending on what kind of character you want to play. If you want to do like the I need some money swipe, then it makes sense for quick money, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you want to pick that one?
Yep. And acrobatics, maybe?
Okay, yeah. Which 2 are you particularly good at from the skills you have chosen so far, and thief tools as a tool that you can choose as well?
Which ones can I use?
Acrobatics, deception, intimidation, persuasion, sleight of hand, stealth, or thief tools.
Well, thieves' tools can help.
With breaking in, disabling traps, that kind of stuff. Yeah?
Yep.
And the other one?
I think I already have all the other ones.
I mean, you already have proficiency in thief tools too. We just double the proficiency with expertise on a particular skill set.
Okay.
So instead of +2, you get +4 from your proficiency bonus. So you can still change them out for now.
Okay, in deception.
Deception. Do you still want to keep your thief tools as extra grid? Yeah. Okay. You do get sneak attack when you use a weapon or ranged weapon or finesse weapon. And your main ability scores will be dexterity and charisma most likely. I need to turn off my WhatsApp. Bing! Noises. Okay, so we go to Warlock now. We need to pick a patron, which we have some options for. Let me just quickly go to game rules, go to the Warlock, and open that in a new tab, please. They should switch us over. Yes, awesome.
Yes.
We have Archfey, which is a powerful Fey Lord or Fey Lady, most likely. A creature of legend, world secret of the forgotten, that were forgotten before the mortal races were born. And we have Celestials, mostly angelic bodies of the upper planes. We have Fathomless, entity of the ocean, elemental, plane of water, or any other sea-related entity. Possibly like a kraken or something. Fiends, devils. The most literal sense of I made a pact with the devil.
Okay.
Genie, like Aladdin genie kind of thing. Though they might not be as noble. The Great Old One, entity of nature, of utterly foreign to the fabric of reality. Might come from the far realm, the space beyond reality. Could be one of the elder gods. It's like before any of the other creatures came to be, this creature already existed.
Okay.
The Hexblade, a mysterious entity from the Shadowfell, so the dark side of the Feywild, as far as I understand it. And you make the undead, you made a pact with a deathless being. Possibly Lich. So a vampire tyrant, it could be a Lich Queen, it could be a Drago Lich, undead pharaoh, that kind of stuff. Death holds no sway over your patron, the Undying. The Shadow King, legendary master, warlock script. Gilgame, the God King of Unther are examples. But also Lich Queen, Vecna, which is an evil god as well. So those kind of are your options for flavor-wise, and it will impact what you will have to do for them as well.
Choices. I'll go for the Archfey.
The Archfey. Okay. We will put in Archfey for the patron. Oh, cool. There's also a Goddess of Duality, but that's a homebrew class that one of my characters is in. So you have Pact Magic, get cantrips, spell slots. You always cast at the highest level of your spell slots. So keep that in mind. You have a limited amount of spells, which you will be able to check on your spell list. You get Verify and Sleep added to your spell list automatically because of the Archfey.
No.
Fey Presence. You Must make a
Oh.
wisdom saving throw. That fail are either charmed or frightened until the end of your next turn. We get evocations now. But before we go into evocations, we will go into your spells for a bit.
Okay.
We will have to pick 2 cantrips, one of which will likely be Eldritch Blast, because that's the main cantrip your evocations work on. And it's an attack cantrip that grows more powerful the more levels you get as well.
Okay.
I don't want to force it on you, so you can read the spell if you want to. It's basically a force of blast with 120 feet radius that does 1d10 force damage. And at later levels you get 2 of those, and then 3, then 4 at level 17.
Okay.
So in general, it's a good cantrip to have, for sure.
I'll take it.
Okay. And then we have a few more to choose from.
I think we can like take a little pause here and talk about how important it is for someone that is starting to actually have, be guided through this, because it's a lot of information.
Yeah, so spells in particular are more challenging. Cantrips are small spells you can use whenever you want, basically. Usually it takes an action to cast, around 6 seconds to do a casting. Some of which take longer, like a mending spell or different spells. These are usually what defines spellcasting classes at level 1. In this case, we start at a higher level. We get access to level 1 spells, level 2 spells as well. The higher the level of spell, the more powerful it will be. Some spells you can upcast, making it a level 1 spell, making that a level 2 spell. You have different schools of magic, like Evocation, which is usually attacks. So with this icon, it's usually an attack spell. Abjuration is usually more of protection. So anything with a blue icon is more protection. Necromancy can be healing, can also be a necromantic energy, raising the dead, that kind of stuff. We have Conjuration, which is creating and summoning, mostly. We have Enchantment, influencing other people, like friends. You make friends with someone. Downside, low level spell is that they know you cast a spell on them after the effect has run out, which is like a minute long. And you have Illusion, mostly illusions, that kind of stuff. Minor illusion, a small illusion that is stationary in like a 5 feet cube. It's a small illusion, doesn't make any sound. And we have Divination, which is helping locate objects or helping strike with actual other spells, in this case. There's a lot of versatility here. There's some more complex mechanics. Talk to your DM what is good for the campaign and go from there. If they do not personally, if you're just starting out, I do not completely recommend spellcasters, because it's a lot of information, because every spell does different things, has different things you need to take into account, like material components, like ranges, like effects. But in general, they are fun to play, and if you are going to want to play a spellcaster, you can either pick a rogue, a ranger, or a fighter, and then at level 3, when you have a little bit more experience with the game, you can go either Arcane Trickster, Eldritch Knight, Rune Knight, or you get at that later level, you get ranger spells as well. So you get used to the melee and physical combat capabilities of a character before you go into the magical aspects. In this case, you have a little bit of experience with magic already, since you've played a druid before and you have played a bard. So you're slightly more familiar with the magical system than newer players. So be I will allow this, basically. What secondary cantrip do you want? What sounds interesting
It
to
was
you?
the protective one that was in like at first.
The blade ward.
The blade ward.
You extend your hand, trace a sigil of warding in the air. Until the end of your next turn, you have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, slashing damage. This will take your action. So you cannot use another spell within this turn.
Yeah.
Most likely to do damage.
Because this just brought me back to one of our campaigns where I had to run and actually I got attacked and almost died. So
Yeah,
it's
because
like,
you didn't take a disengage action in this case.
exactly.
That's why
Mm-hmm.
the melee combat comes into play as well.
Mm-hmm.
We have a few spells to pick from within the level 1. And I will also recommend picking a level 2 spell as well. Or maybe 2. So you have 4 spells that you can pick from total. Pick either 1 or 2 in here, and then pick 2 more in the level 2 section.
Okay. How does a charm person work? Like, how long does it
Charm
take?
person?
Yeah.
An hour.
Okay. I'll take that one.
That makes total sense, yep.
And then...
There is a couple of options. You already have sleep.
Yeah.
And I think you already have charm person as well. Let me quickly check.
Yeah, because I had 2.
Expanded. Oh, I think they added to the. Yeah, I think you have the. Let's you choose from an extended spell list. So they added it to the spell list you can choose from in this case. So you don't have them per se.
Okay.
Yeah, that's something to keep in mind.
What is the sleep one? Now I'm curious.
Sleep is a radius of 20 feet. In a 90-foot radius around you. You can pick a location and you roll 5d8. Or in this case, I think you roll 68 because you cast 78. And that's the amount of hit points you affect with the spell. If a creature has less than that hit points, it will fall asleep. If it has more, nothing happens.
Okay, but that's still a
Affecting
cool
from the lowest level, lowest HP to the highest. So the most powerful creature will less likely fall asleep in that case.
Okay.
Useful if you fight a group of very small creatures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay. Is there any other that you see that's interesting to you?
I was thinking another attack one.
Okay. Yeah, Witch Bolt, which you have seen used in the Tavern Brawl in the third one shot. Which you, if you hit, you do 2d12 damage. And after that, if they are in range, you do 2d12 damage on each of their turns up to a minute if you hold your concentration on it.
Okay.
So that is a sustaining damage spell, basically. And it will take up your action to deal another damage, but you automatically hit.
Yeah.
For the next one. So that is one. We have
Fairy Fire.
Fairy Fire isn't technically an attack spell, but it does reveal invisible enemies.
No.
It outlines in a blue, green, or violet light, your choice. If they fail their dex save, any attack against the affected creature has advantage if the attacker can see it. And cannot benefit from invisibility.
Okay.
I think Hellish Rebuke is a reaction spell. Yes. It's a reaction which you take in response of being damaged by a creature within 60 feet that you can see. You basically point towards a creature, and they must make a dexterity saving throw or take 3d10 damage. Fire damage. So that's a reaction kind of thing that you can do.
I like that one.
It's a nice one because it's a reaction, and so it goes outside of your turn. I will have a combat video on how turns work in another video, because otherwise this will get too long. Okay.
Yeah, I'll go for that one.
Okay, so you've picked 3 out of 4. We will have some more options in here.
Oh Lord. Okay.
Yes. I'm going to make a quick cut here because I have to go to the bathroom. So think about it. I'll be right back.
Please wait. Elevator music.
Stand by. Technical difficulties. After some careful consideration, we will leave the rest for next episode, which will be second part of character creation. We will do some spell selection, background selection. We will talk a little bit deeper on the background of the character, and possibly some play as well. And otherwise, that will be in the third video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye. Happy gaming.